You're going to be like the moment a punch lands on him from Canelo?
Are you kidding me? Take that question back.
Yeah, why?
Because you're talking about Crawford.
Yeah.
He's the
weight classes.
He's the most composed guy. Yeah. What, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No.
I think Crawford could beat CaneloAlvarez.
I think he's too small. But then again, I thought he was too small for Spence. So shows what I know.
Boxing legend Mike Tyson isn't convinced by this matchup. He has voiced serious concerns about Crawford's chances, stating that this fight might not be in Crawford's best interest. Tyson warns that stepping into the ring with Canelo could end badly for Crawford, citing Canelo's size, power, and relentless pressure as major threats. In Tyson's view, this is a dangerous challenge that might be too much for Crawford to handle.
What would he have? I don't know. I just don't think it's a good idea. People have done things crazy like that before. It's just that he doesn't have to do it. He doesn't have to do it.
You posted the other day, there's a picture of you in a Rolls Royce, and you said, the quote is, "I can't remember how many of these I gave away." Tell me about that.
Yes, I don't know. I guess wasn't used to having money. I said, when I had money, you know, you're not accustomed to that shit, man.
Yeah, but not everybody's Mike Tyson. You're very generous. You're a genuine, nice person. Tillman told me that one time you lent him his car, he kept it for like 3 months or something.
I don't know, this shit. Listen, if you have money and you can't help nobody with it, what's the purpose of having it?
He believes that the upcoming fight between Canelo and Crawford is a commendable matchup. Benavidez's respect for Canelo's skills and accomplishments in the ring highlights his positive
perspective. I wish both of them the best.
All right, next question. Do you use that for motivation at all? Like Canelo's, like, you know?
I definitely do use that as motivation because if I was such an easy fighter and target, he would have came and beat me already. Just for him not fighting me lets me know how dangerous I am.
How would you approach a fight?
Is there scissors? Is there scissors? Ask for scissors. Go ahead.
How would you approach a fight with TerenceCrawford if it was you against Crawford?
To be honest with you, if I fought Terence Crawford, I would definitely use my size, my reach, my weight to my advantage. Crawford is a very smart fighter, but I guess thankfully I'm not fighting him.
Garcia highlights Canelo's physical advantages, emphasizing his strength, size, and power. He argues that these attributes give Canelo a significant edge over Crawford, who is moving up in weight classes. Garcia believes that the substantial difference in weight could present a major challenge for Crawford, making it difficult for him to overcome Canelo.
But I'm excited for that. I know Canelo, he's so big, so strong, and I think he'll be just too big. I mean, weight classes matter for a reason. Right?
He said Teofimo and Boots are going to be on your October undercard.
Oh, yeah,
and the winners would fight each other. Is that what you were told?
I didn't know that, but I'm down. I don't care. Yeah, let's do it. I wanted to fight Teofimo too.
Last one. I gotta do this. I agree with you that there's just like there's a lot of sanctioning bodies, there's a lot of promoters. There should be more testing organizations, not just one. Tell me about that. Why are you so adamant about no body?
I think that when a coach is pushing a certain organization, it just strikes me off weird. And for it to be like a mandatory thing, like, why can't I use another organization, you know? But again, I don't want to talk about them because, you know.
Porter has expressed concern about how Crawford will handle Canelo's punching power. Given Canelo's reputation for delivering devastating blows, Porter questions Crawford's ability to withstand such force.
No, that's two more weight classes. Like once
especially
he gets touched
considering
by Canelo,
the
it's
jump
going to be different.
in weight classes.
I am concerned
His
about
concern
him
reflects a broader apprehension about whether Crawford can endure the physical demand.
We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down. You know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. it's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out, you know what I mean?
Garcia predicts that Canelo will win the fight due to his size and power advantage. He suggests that these factors will play a crucial role in determining the outcome, with Canelo's physicality serving as a decisive element in the match.
The best fighters that I've seen. Now, Canelo is, fighting at 168. Crawford just moved up to 154, and he has some trouble with that in that fight. Now, where do you plan on going? 164, 65, 66? Canelo ain't gonna come down to 160.
Yeah,
Canelo ain't gonna come down, maybe 166 max if he accepts. I think Canelo wins that fight based on just the size, power and size. Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better skilled fighter, but the difference in size will be the deciding factor, and that's why I'm not even a fan of that fight. I think Crawford has accomplished everything he had to accomplish from 140, 147, now 154. That's even greater for him. He wants to do something, collect belts at 154, he can attempt that. But there's no money in that compared to a Canelo fight. And Canelo is trying to fight other guys, and at that point it's more of a big fight, for the money that's gonna generate. But as a fight fan, I'm not really a fan of that matchmaking. I'd rather see Canelo move up and fight somebody like Bitterbeef or Bivol again. If he wanted to challenge himself, move up to 175 again, and challenge himself against those guys. Not a smaller guy moving up.
Jones Jr. has praised Canelo's abilities and acknowledged Crawford's ambition to test himself against the best.
Yeah, because a lot of people are saying, forget about
that if
Canelo.
Crawford fails to overcome Canelo, it could mark a significant turning point in his career, especially considering
Eddie's
Canelo's
saying,
status as
I think Crawford's saying, hey, give me the Canelo fight or I'm not fighting. I'm done.
Why? What does he got to prove to Boots? Boots trying to take over and start beating the guys around him, prove that he's the best of that group. Bud is in a group above him. Bud don't need to come back down to 47 to meet him. That's crazy. Why would he? Bud looking to try to make history and get out. Get his big bank and get out. His big bank is who? Canelo. He willing to take that gamble, see if he can beat him. If he beats him, he may go fight Benavidez next. If he don't beat him, he say, okay, I took it as high as I could go. I'm done.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy if he gets the win. Like, oh my God.
Robert Garcia has analyzed the fight and leans toward a Canelo victory. While the specific details of his breakdown are not provided, his assessment aligns with the majority opinion favoring Canelo, likely due to factors such as size, power, and experience at higher weight classes. Garcia also believes that if Terence Crawford agrees to fight CaneloAlvarez, it would primarily be for the massive payday. He feels that Crawford has already accomplished enough in his career and doesn't need to prove anything further, as he has secured his future and lives responsibly. However, if the fight does happen, Garcia predicts that Crawford could put up a competitive performance for the first 6 to 8 rounds. He acknowledges Crawford's skill and strength, but believes that Canelo's size and power will eventually...
No, because I'm saying that's what's going to happen. Canelo's going to beat him. But which one?
I don't know, man. Crawford is fucking gangster. I've always been saying, I think Canelo at the end, obviously his strength, his weight,
experience
probably takes over. But shit, I wouldn't be surprised if Crawford just fucking boxes and fights smart and beats him.
He's probably gonna be 40-1 underdog or something crazy like that, right? It's not gonna be close.
No, it's gonna be close.
3 weight class?
Maybe 3-4-1. No crees?
Nah.
It's not gonna be that big of a deal. No.
When you pick the knockout? No. When you pick the knockout?
You pick a knockout. But if it's just
who wins straight out?
I think it's gonna be maybe 3-1, 4-1. Maybe that's too much. Maybe 2-1. Maybe 2-1.
I don't think so.
I'm telling you.
So they finally announced Ryu's fight. Gary Russell, what do you think? Not easy fight? No easy fights in this level? It's going to be, finally you guys will be, the first time you're ever going to a Tank fight, right? To work a corner?
Work a corner at Tank's fight?
Is Tank's the main event?
Promoter Eddie Hearn has expressed skepticism about Crawford's chances against Canelo, citing the significant weight difference as a major concern.
I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean,
finds it remarkable that Crawford is even attempting such a challenge,
68, yeah, but
implying that the physical disparity between
40, 47, 54, sooner or later it's one too many, and 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against CaneloAlvarez. Yeah. But you have to use your movement if you're Terence Crawford in that fight. The last thing you want to do is stand and trade. He'd be moving a lot in that fight, trust me. I'm not saying he'd be running, but he would be moving a lot. Of course, that's the way to beat him.
Yeah.
Tank Davis has praised Canelo, describing him as one of the top boxers of this era and a truly great fighter. While he hasn't directly commented on the potential outcome of the fight,
he's a great fighter
Davis's
himself,
admiration highlights the high level of respect Canelo commands within the boxing community.
It's pretty touchy. I think I'm the face of boxing already. If we've been real, I think I'm the face of boxing right now. I think that Canelo going out the door, all the top guys. I mean, well, Canelo was probably the only one, but he was going out the door, so.
Teddy Atlas praises Canelo, saying that Canelo is bigger, stronger, and more powerful. He is a unified champion with impressive achievements. Handling a fighter of his caliber is a huge challenge. However, the question also arises whether Canelo can handle a smaller, faster, and more defensive fighter. Speed, agility, and movement could be key factors in this fight. Canelo has shown moments where he slows down, especially as he gets older. His opponent's slick footwork and defensive skills might create difficulties. While both fighters are aging, their styles and strengths will determine the outcome.
However, he also
Experience, strategy, and adaptability will play a major role in this matchup.
Not official, but it may be a done deal. Terence Crawford,
agility,
CaneloAlvarez.
and movement could be the deciding factors in this fight. Canelo has shown signs of slowing down, especially with age, and his opponent's slick footwork and defensive prowess might pose real difficulties. While both fighters are aging, their distinct styles and strengths will shape the outcome.
When you eat something that's a little difficult to eat, and Matrimov was a little difficult to eat, he's not easy to digest, he's a good fighter. But when you really, Sam, when you eat something that's a little tough to digest, you get hiccups, right? So, come on, he's human. So he had a few hiccups. He won the fight. He's Terence Crawford. A lot of people say, "Oh, Teddy, you make him so good. You're always saying how great Crawford is." But who's he beating? He unified the what was his first division? Lightweight. Then he unified the junior. Then he unified the junior welter. Then he unified the welter. I think I got the weight classes right. It doesn't.
Sports commentator Stephen A. Smith has weighed in on the matchup, acknowledging Crawford's skill, but expressing concern about his ability to hurt Canelo.
Can Crawford hurt him?
Smith feels that if Crawford is unable to land impactful punches, Canelo will relentlessly apply pressure.
And if Canelo catches him, it could be trouble. But I would still say it would be a very interesting fight. I just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful. And I'm wondering whether he could stay away. Again, Crawford is the superior boxer. But if he can't hurt Canelo, he can't keep him off of him. and that's where the problem was.
What do you think a win like that would do for Crawford? Would that put him
I
up
think it was
Robinson, Mayweather?
He and I spoke about it. He and I spoke about it in Vegas when the UFC event was at the Sphere. It's a fight he wants desperately. He wants badly. He says it's a legacy fight. He thinks about Tommy Hitman Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard and others moving up in weight, and he believes he can do the same, and he wants to do the same against a fighter the caliber.
Analyst Showbiz the Adult has expressed doubt about Crawford's ability to absorb Canelo's punches. He suggests that the power disparity between the two could be a critical factor, with Crawford potentially struggling to withstand Canelo's heavy blows. Crawford's decision to move up 3 weight classes to fight Canelo has raised concerns among various boxing professionals. Many believe that skipping multiple divisions to face the biggest fighter in the super middleweight class is a risky move, potentially putting Crawford at a significant disadvantage.
To fight the best fighter in my generation that's out there. He's the most accomplished fighter, and I would just like to fight another great.
Which is a very noble reason. I mean, it's a reason that I can get behind. If you notice, his primary reason isn't money. He did say it'd be the biggest fight, which, you do want a big fight, but I don't think he meant monetarily, which the money comes, okay? But what he's saying is he want to test himself versus the best. And I think he's telling the truth here, right? Of course you want big money and stuff like that, but I think his swan song is just him test himself up against the very best. Those are the reasons the war room can get behind.